Pandemonium. Dean Martin? If you've got the internet, you get a talk show. Here's your host, Mr. BTB himself, Scott Curtis.
Hey, it's me, Scott. It's the BTB Internet Talk Show. Were you expecting anything else? I don't think so. So here we are. This is Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and I am transmitting on a few different mediums, but in a few minutes we will only be on Twitch on the Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling channel, which is right here. Twitch.tv/drinks/drinks, jokes, and storytelling. I've already been drinking, so I'll be slurring. Twitch.tv, drinks, jokes, and storytelling. Hit the follow button and hit the subscribe button if you really like it. There's a lot of other great shows. Speaking of other great shows, oh golly, let's talk about what's coming up right after mine. It's my friend John Poveromo with Dystopia Tonight, and his special guest is Dex Carvey, who is comedian, actor, and editor, and coincidentally Dana Carvey's son. So that's going to be an excellent show. John let me pop in between guests last night because he had a double header, and we talked for a little bit about comedians who won't do our podcast. So that was fun. And tomorrow night, John again is going to be screening his show Duppet. This is a short film that he created a couple years ago, and talking about mindfulness, depression, and stuff that most comedians go through. He's going to have Gary Gulman, Mark Gerber, and Farrah Sad, and John and Vinny Nardiello are going to be on there, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun and funny, and they're going to talk about some serious subjects too, subjects that we all know very well if you go through depression. Go to the that bit.ly an evening with Duppet to sign up. You have to RSVP, or you could just check my page out and it'll be there. I highly recommend watching that, and there's going to be audience Q&A afterwards. I have gotten some comments on the old BTB Internet Talk Show, which is not a podcast because you can't download it anywhere on podcast apps, so it's not a podcast. But if you want to call it a podcast, I don't care. Ordering at McDonald's, that's a podcast too. Okay, whatever. They say it's weird. My show's weird. So I have decided that my talk show, it's like David Lynch and John Waters created a talk show. How about that? That's what you should expect, and maybe a little bit of Andy Kaufman. And yeah, that's all I got going on. I did talk to Art Bell today, which was exciting. That'll be on a future podcast. He created Comedy Central, so that was a pretty good talk. And you should pick up that book. I read it in 3 days because it was so good. But let's get the show on the road, shall we? I have with me some podcasters. And you know what I like about podcasters? They have mics, they have internet, they have cameras, and I don't have to worry about people being fuzzy and not hearing them. It's great. But these guys are from the Entertain This podcast, and they go through all different kinds of entertainment on the podcast. Movies, TV, video games, books, just everything. They go through the whole spiel. And I don't know them very well, but I'm going to pop them up here. First, we've got Nick, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce your last name, Mustangus or whatever. You're Greek, right?
He is. I'm Michael Savoya.
Oh, you're Mike. Oh, I hit the wrong one. Okay,
you're good.
Let's get Nick up here. Nick, what are you Greek?
No, it's Finnish.
Okay. Oh, it's Finnish. Wow, cool.
Yeah.
And
I'm Alex, and I'm also finished.
No, you're not.
So you guys do the BTB, or you guys do the Entertain This podcast. And before we start talking, I do want to talk about what I'm drinking tonight. It's Beast.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Whiskey. And the reason why I'm putting it up here, because I'm going to send tapes, little clips to them to see if they'll send me some free bottles for talking about.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, we're right from that valley of bourbon drinkers and bourbon lovers. We actually did an episode on our podcast strictly about bourbon. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was at the local nice liquor store couple weeks ago, and I just asked somebody what's cheap and good, and this is like $2 more than the Buffalo Trace that I buy, and it's a lot better. So it's good stuff.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah, we had a doctor on to convince us to drink more bourbon. It was a pretty good episode.
A medical doctor, yes.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
Everybody likes to drink, and if it's good for you, it's even better. If you guys want to put comments up here, I will put them up. I'm following the chat. Okay, let's talk about this Entertain This podcast. First of all, how did you guys meet?
Oh, I love this story.
Oh yeah.
we have a sort of a Marvel Cinematic Universe meetup story where like I met up with Nick, and then like I met up with Michael, and then like Michael met up with Nick, and then like we all just sewn into each other and became a group. The quick answer is mutual friends, mutual friends, mutual friends. How you make most connections in this world.
Yep.
I like to track it to the first time all three of us were together was at a Halloween party where Michael was dressed like a goth. I think Nick was dressed as Minecraft Steve, and I was dressed as an alcoholic. So that was in my regular clothes.
Not a whole lot has changed, really.
Change clothes, right? You're
Right.
good to go.
I just walked out my room and went, oh shit, a party's going on.
What is this, Halloween or something?
Right.
So obviously you guys are very into the pop culture, the universes, reading, all the stuff that nerdy people do, and you put this show together. How long has the show been on? Because it looks like there's quite a few episodes.
Yeah, a little over a year now.
We just recorded our 56th episode last night.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Now you guys argue a lot during these shows, and what I'm wondering, so we as a nation cannot come together and agree on anything, but have you ever had a discussion where your mind was changed about something that you either didn't like or you did like and decided you don't like it so much? Can you give me some examples of any of that happened during your show?
So the big part of our show is exactly that. That's almost the like bread and butter of our show.
Yeah.
Our show started off as it was a replacement during what we're calling the Worldwide Panda Express. It was a replacement for us talking in person and arguing with each other over what to watch and what's like cool and what's the best thing to watch or keep ourselves entertained. That's where the title comes from. It's the beginning of a sentence. It's entertain this and then our topic. So yeah, I mean, like you said, almost every episode to an extent is like fighting tooth and nail with the other two to be like, no, this is worth your time. Like, please take the time and experience this.
I've done it before. I think just the last episode we recorded, somebody said like, hey, you should go watch more movies in theaters. And I'm pretty lazy. Like if I don't have to get out of a chair, I mean, that's great. But he was like, that's how the art form is supposed to be, experienced. Right. So my mind was changed right then and there. I mean, it happens all the time. And thank goodness for this podcast for getting me to change my tooth and nail views on stuff.
Yeah, we definitely try and like insert ourselves into a different atmosphere of encompassing like all of the aspects of entertainment, both the like knowledge base and then the arguments that happen between the people who like to actually watch it, as well as like educating people who would never know about it.
Fun facts, we're all about it.
Yeah, and it seems like it's a lot of Nick trying to keep you guys on point, and then Michael and Alex just totally bulldozing him.
Nick's like to do what we call he likes to script things out very heavily, where Alex and I like to take the viewpoint of have a general vague topic and bullshit our way through it, just like we did in high school.
It's different strokes for different folks.
I mean, in an environment where you're trying to convince people of something, you have to change tactics a lot. A script doesn't always work for that. But I think that we found a groove more recently where, at least within the last, I think 10 or so episodes that we've recorded, it's all been topics that the other people knew nothing about. Yeah. And I think that that's always kind of how it plays out, is that the person talking about it knows everything. And then at least one other person knows a little bit. But often we find that in that chemistry that we're building, the third person in the situation knows jack shit about the topic that we're talking about.
Right.
That's the trifecta.
Yeah.
Right. And at least you guys have the courage to say you do know jack shit about it and let me listen about it, because faking it on stuff that people already know about is a bad way to go.
That's how I started in this whole biz. Was I had a friend who wanted to do a movie review podcast back in high school, and I got all the like equipment. You can spend all the money in the world, but if you don't watch the goddamn movies, you're just gonna sound like an idiot on it.
Yeah.
And that's how I started, was just sounding dumb.
Yeah, and a big thing about podcasts is you have to find, especially when you're doing a trio like you guys are, you have to find 2 other guys that show up every time, because I see in the podcast groups, oh, my co-host quit, oh, both my co-hosts quit, and you guys have the same passion and fuel for putting different stuff up out there, and even though I don't know half of what you're talking about that stupid video game in the last one, and I'm like, I don't even know. But I know more now. And
yeah, see, ain't that nice? You walked away with something.
Yeah,
that one's free. That one's on us. Next one you're paying for.
But yeah, I appreciate the fact that you guys found each other and actually show up. So that's half the battle for podcasting.
For sure.
Now, we are still on all forms of media. We're on Twitch, the Facebook, the YouTube, and all that. But I'm going to ask these guys one question that we're going to talk about, and then we are going to leave you and only be on the Twitch channel. Let me show you that channel once again. It's twitch.tv/drinks, jokes, and the letter N storytelling. Just smash that button that you do to follow. That way you know every time they're online. And they do much better shows than this one. John's show is very good. But
they haven't had us on, so how good can they be, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I find the best guests, they do the best shows. So that I think I'm the weak link in this one. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is since I mentioned David Lynch at the top of this, I wanted to ask you guys what your favorite David Lynch movie is, and what do you think he's thinking about right now after you tell me the movie?
That's a fair question to ask a bunch of 20-something-year-olds, because he hasn't done much recently. But it did pose an interesting question to us. I mean, he's more famous for like Twin Peaks, so when it comes to movies, it gets interesting. I would argue that his Dune wasn't that bad, but to kind of roll into that, I would say what he's probably thinking right now is, how do I convince these people that the Dune remake was unnecessary? Because I did a fine job with it. Okay, we didn't need to double back and hire somebody else. I think that's where I stand on it.
You know what? That Dune movie, when you watch it many years later, I mean, Sting just bugs the crap out of me. But I don't know why. I've never liked him. I didn't like the Police. It's a whole thing.
Right.
But I don't like the octave he sings in or something. But but when you take that out, I mean, it's a David Lynch movie. You don't want to think of it as Dune as the book was written. It's a David Lynch rendition of Dune. So I can dig that.
Yeah.
And what's he thinking of, and what you think he's thinking about right now? He's probably forgotten about Dune. He probably forgot he made that movie, so I'll have to disagree with you on that.
I'll take that for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I really haven't seen a lot of David Lynch stuff. So like the only exposure I've really had to it is there's like a vague video game that was made based off of Twin Peaks called Deadly Premonition that is just absolutely weird as shit, and I loved it. But as for like what I think he's thinking right now, I don't know. His head's probably filled with all the math equations that he's had to erase off of middle schoolers' papers.
He does have a YouTube channel, and every once in a while he will just be sitting there smoking a cigarette, talking about random shit like how to fix a washing machine. I mean, he.
God, I hope I'm that famous one day.
Yeah.
People will still watch it.
I just wish I could get his hair. But yeah,
I'm getting there, man. I could probably pull it off if I got enough hairspray.
It's like this. Oh, how does he do it? Gravity-defying hair.
Yeah, I think his is a lot of hairspray.
Yeah, I saw the Barnum and Bailey circus once. It came to Cincinnati, and the guy had like giant tube hair. Wow. And I remember we like after the show we ran into like some carny like backstage or something, and I asked him like, how'd they do the hair thing? And they're like, you're not going to believe it, but he hangs by his knees up from a pole, and a lady sprays it until it's all just going straight up in the air.
Oh,
and
wow.
since that day, I was like, hey, somebody want to like come over with a bottle of hairspray? We can give this a go. Let's see what happens, you know?
I'm going for that Marge Simpson look. Can you hit me up with that?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get one of those some of those gravity boot things to do that, though.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and at my age, I wouldn't even try it. So yeah, I'm done with that. Nick, what's your favorite David Lynch movie, and what do you think he's thinking about now?
So I was pretty much on board with what Michael said before. I haven't had a whole bunch of exposure to his films at all, but I'd say one that sticks out to me is kind of what is it? The Elephant Man, just for the sheer like absurd aspect of it.
Yeah.
And also it's like the classic tale of don't judge a book by its cover.
Mhm.
Because inside might be, some quality stuff in there.
Yeah. Somebody likes what you said.
Hey, I know that person.
That's
Yeah.
rare.
All right. Yeah.
But anyways, what I think he's thinking about right now, I think he's probably sitting on a beach somewhere in the Bahamas. The weather's kind of nice out there, maybe.
I don't know if he's a nice weather guy. He likes
he likes that
his
stormy
skin's too
weather.
pale.
he likes rain. Yeah, rain and 43 degrees. I think that's his favorite temperature. But yeah. So I'm going to make a suggestion here, simply because I like you guys. I am going to invite myself onto your podcast, and the movie we will be screening will be my favorite David Lynch movie, Blue Velvet. And, probably one of his. It's the most weird and least weird at the same time, because it does follow an actual story arc, and doesn't get lost like a lot of his movies does. But it has Dennis Hopper playing the weirdest role he's ever played, and Kyle MacLachlan doing his thing, and he looks like he's 12 years old. So let's put this in the books. We're all going to watch Blue Velvet,
and then you're going to come on our podcast, and you're going to break down Blue Velvet for us for an hour. And you're going to be a guest star on our show.
Yeah, I'm going to make you son of a bitches like it.
This is like recorded, so this is a legally binding. Like this is a contract. You're coming on our show. Great, guys. We got next month like booked up. We're good now.
Pencil them in.
We're stressing about nothing. Guests just come to us now.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I can probably talk an hour about Blue Velvet. I got to watch it again, but yeah, I can do that.
We'd love to have you on.
That was a good subject, but folks, we have to let you go if you're anywhere but Twitch. So buy Facebook, buy other Facebook.
Come on, guys, it's free. Just go to Twitch. It's free.
Facebook.
It's free. Come hang out on Twitch with us.
Twitter folks, get over on Twitch.